good afternoon and welcome to Africa Business Radio Special Her Series, guys. Yes, because it's the month for women. It's the week for women. And yes, on Africa Business Radio, we're very enthusiastic about this year's International Women's Day. And we are talking women's achievements. We are talking how to make the general African, business landscape much more conducive for women. And yes, we're having a special guest joining us right now this afternoon on the show. I've got Nwanne Nwonwu. She is a business architect and a consultant. Good afternoon, Nwanne. It's good to have you on the show this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Racheal. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for joining us. I hope it wasn't so hard for you to get here. I hope it was okay. And I hope you like, the services you're getting right now.
Yeah, sure. It wasn't hard getting here. I didn't stay far, so.
All right, so good, amazing. Good to have you here. So, we are still talking about International Women's Day, even though it was on Monday, but we're still driving the cause. It's a cause that is going to go down till the end of this year, to the next year's, celebration of International Women's Day. And we've had a lot of guests come on the show to talk about, what they want to challenge, what needs to be done to make the space a lot better. And today we're talking about, the business landscape in Nigeria, because if you must encourage women to come out there and to do business and put themselves out there, you need to make the environment conducive, right? So, as a business consultant and analyst, how would you say the Nigerian business, or doing business in Nigeria, how would you say it is now? Where would you place it? How would you rate it for Nigeria?
So I have this very big smile on my face. Do you want to give me on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, let's scale first. Okay, let's say 1 to 10. Where would you place Nigeria in terms of doing business in the country?
Okay, so if I'm being fair, I'd give us a 5.
A 5? That's fair enough. That's a pass.
So I know that sometime in 2018, we started the ease of doing business in Nigeria, the drive for doing ease of doing business, and there's a committee working on that, right? Some things, quote unquote, were put in place. I think it's now about measuring how efficient those measures are. Are they really working? How easy is it for you to get a CAC registration done, for instance? How easy is it for you to open a bank account for your business? And like when we think about the little operations that or regulatory operations that you need to participate in order to get your business up and running, how easy is it? That's why I'm going to give us like a rate of 5, because I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot more that can be done to get us to enabling business owners to run their businesses smoothly and efficiently.
Sure.
Not to speak about all the regulations that pop up every now and then. You wake up in the morning, you go to sleep thinking that you're fine, and then you wake up the next morning and there's one regulation that has been put in place that can literally render your business useless.
Yes, and I think that's a particular worry for a lot of business people and for investors as well. A lot of persons would argue that the cost of doing business in Nigeria is so high. They would say it's not so friendly, because I've had people come on the show to say these things. They'll say it's not so friendly. The cost is so high. It's not encouraging. And you see some good businesses selling out of the country. So maybe we need to be reminded of the rewards. What? That look on your face now. So what are the rewards of doing business? Let's remind ourselves the rewards of doing business in Nigeria, because we need these businesses to stay here for us, because we need jobs, right? So if we need jobs, then we need more businesses staying. So what are the rewards of doing businesses in Nigeria?
So I think that every businessman or woman's dream is to make money. I make a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah, lots of money. So the way I'd like to look at it, in terms of what we have going on right now, is that we're even being encouraged to support local content more. And we're now showcasing like Africa has a lot to offer, right? In terms of like now promoting our own local content. And the world is digital now, right? So people tend to see the products that come out of Nigeria, that come out from Africa, and they're interested. So yes, there's the bad side to it, right? And so now we're speaking about the rewards. So the cost of doing business in Nigeria is high. I quite agree with that. But when we think about the rewards, it's not easy doing business anywhere globally, right? But one thing that makes you stand out is your resilience. So how are you able to strive through in all the difficulties? What are you able to, like, making the best out of every opportunity that you're giving, providing quality service, providing quality products? And we have different platforms now through which we're able to promote our businesses, be it products or services. And you find that even from within Nigeria, you can sell outside. You don't necessarily have to now sell your company to some international organization or investors, right? So we're still able to bring in money to the country or on the continent. We can't, but continue to stay resilient and build on what we have to continue to promote like African products, African services, selling that to the global world, and then also introducing them to what we have here internally.
Interesting. Now, about what you mentioned, I had a guest talking about how it's also important that we, as you have said, patronize ourselves, patronize Nigerian made and all of that. But you'd agree with me too that in Africa, it's not just a Nigerian thing. In Africa, there's always the issue of trust when it comes to doing business. In fact, because it's an African company or it's a Nigerian company, and there's more like people are twice as wary when it comes to, doing business with an African or a Nigerian, in that kind of scenario. So how concerned are you about lack of trust in African businesses or in Nigerian businesses?
How concerned am I? So I really don't know how concerned I am. But what I would say around the issue of trust is, so it's not only an African problem, right? It's general, it's global. But when we speak about Africa, and I would use Nigeria as a case study because this is where I am. This is the system that I understand the most. There has to be a mindset change, first of all. And I remember sometime when I was in secondary school, or thereabout, and my brother started to raise the issue about not having Nigeria's major problem being that we do not have a database, a central database. It didn't make a lot of sense to me then, up until like very recently, say some 7 years back, and it's now beginning to make a lot of sense. So for us to be able to work on trust, so from a global perspective, first of all, right? And when we think about countries like the US, the United States of America, where they have the Social Security, for instance, I'm just hoping that with the NIN registration going on, I hope that we're able to implement and sort of help curb some of the trust issues. Because if I'm able to track down an individual with this one number, then I think that's a good start, right? So I have different records with different institutions. I'm sure that if you go to some institution where they got my data some 15 years back, the address they have for me, the home address they have for me, is not the same home address I have right now. So if someone goes to that institution and gets that record and goes to look for me in the at the home address that I have registered there, they wouldn't find me there. And then the next person living there probably wouldn't even know that someone with the name Nwanne lived here.
Yeah.
And so no one can even, no one can trace me, so to speak. But I'm hoping that with the national identity, something good is going to come to Nigeria.
Yes.
I did start a company with one of my business partners sometime in 2019, and one of the major challenge that we had was how do we because that business actually was going to be based on a lot of trust, right? How are we able to ensure that our customers or our clients are giving us the right information that we need? So if anything goes wrong with whatever vehicle they're going to be renting, how do I trace this person? How am I sure that the person is not going to go across Cotonou bother with some other person's vehicle, right? So that's a major issue. Trust. But like, I'm just hoping that with the NIN registration currently going on, we'll be able to integrate and get a central database to cover the nation.
The database issue is indeed one very huge issue, because if you want to compare and contrast African countries, or let me just use Nigeria now, say Nigeria and the United States, and let's use crime fighting, for instance. I know that's too much of a comparison, right? Let's use crime now. If you compare how easy it is, or the crimes that go unattended in Nigeria and compare it to the ones that go unattended in the United States, you'd see that the difference between the two is still data.
Yes, I agree.
There's a murder scene now. They are able to get fingerprints, they're able to get this and that, and cameras here and there. But that's something you cannot find in Nigeria. And it's not just cutting across businesses now, it's cutting across security issues that scare investors to coming into the country. Yeah. So I think, yes, if that particular issue is sorted out, then it's going to cut across every other issue, especially economically in the country. Now, let's talking about the government now, and how they can make the business environment a lot more conducive, a lot more sustainable. You can't talk about sustainability in business without infrastructure, putting in place the proper infrastructure. And this, of course, is the role of the government. It's not something an individual will do. The government needs to, make these things available for businesses. So what impact do government regulations or regulators have on African business strategy now?
A lot. A whole lot, because like you rightly said, it's in the place of government to put in place infrastructures. Without infrastructures, we can't do anything. We can't move. But the beautiful thing about Nigerians is that we are resilient people. And so even when the government is not providing, we try to provide for ourselves.
Don't you think that's a problem, really? Because we are so quick to adapt. We are so quick to adapt and quick to just...
That's a big problem.
And maybe it's making a lot of people relax. People should be doing certain things that are relaxing, because, these guys, they will sort themselves out eventually. So
I like to have a positive mindset, right? I do totally understand, and I belong to the school of thought that we shouldn't be doing things for government. We should allow the government we should put them on their toes to do the right thing. But we're all not just going to sit down and fold our arms and wait for the government to fix everything, because if they're not fixing it, then we need to fix it, because we also are looking to create a better tomorrow for the future, for the generations that are coming. So one way that the government can support or enable the ease of doing business in Nigeria is to support entrepreneurs, and in supporting entrepreneurs, so we're not even talking about handouts here, right? But just creating that enabling environment. So when we talk about regulations, especially, so same business that I spoke about that started out in 2019, somewhere in 2020, yes, there was the national lockdown, but I woke up to the news of one regulation from the Lagos that had been set up by the Lagos state government. it wasn't like going to impact on my business as at of then, but I had to think long term because it's the same space, right? But like my model wasn't exactly affected at the time, but I could just imagine that in 3 months' time, if we had grown as much as like, we had expected to grow, they probably would be looking out for that business and saying that, hey, so this regulation we put in place also affects your business, and so you would have to pay X amount in tax and whatnot. So rather than try to fight the disruption that is happening, I think that government should collaborate, or come get the necessary stakeholders, have a dialogue with the necessary stakeholders in the private sector to even fully understand what's going on, what's happening. How can the government help? How can the government support to promote these different businesses, and how can these businesses even potentially increase the revenue for the state or the nation as a whole, as opposed to fighting the disruption happening? I would encourage that the government supports, gets close to the grassroots and understand what's happening, call for a dialogue, meet with different stakeholders from the different industries, and fully understand and grasp how this change can potentially come through the disruptions that are being created right now.
I totally agree with you. And I also think that, the government, before they make some policies you just hear and you feel like, did these people even think about what it's going to do to our businesses, or what it's going to do to the standard of living of people? Did they even think about this? Not in 2 years or in 5 years, like right now. So sometimes you just begin to wonder.
So sometimes for me, like, there's some policies that I hear about, and all I can see, right, is the government feels that they're in competition with the private sector, which shouldn't be. Which shouldn't be. We should collaborate, because we're all fighting for the good of the country. We're fighting for the good of our economy, right? So like, if these businesses grow, if these businesses excel, it potentially reflects on the economy.
All right, now let's talk about businesses that are waxing strong now, despite all of the barriers. You're saying, you know what, you're going to stay, you're going to make profit, you're going to keep investing in the country. And at some point or another, they have to consider placing stakeholders in the agenda, right? Now, at what point do you think this is even necessary, especially for small businesses?
So when we say stakeholders, I think that's like, very broad. Early on, you should start thinking about your stakeholders early on. And I'll categorize stakeholders in 3.
Okay.
First stakeholders you should be considering are your customers. Next will be your employees, and then your investors.
Okay.
A lot of times, like when we talk about stakeholders, everybody's just thinking about the investors, right? Because they're the ones with the capital, they're the ones with the money. But think about, like, if we look at it this way, I get all the money in the world. I get $1 billion to run my business. If I don't have the customers that are going to purchase from me, then the business is useless. If I don't have the right team to drive that business, I'm not going to have a product or a service. Yes, investors are also very important, because then they bring in the capital for you to run. But think about your customers first, which is very important. When you see the problem which you're trying to solve, the next thing you want to be thinking about is, who am I solving for? And so in business terms, that's when you talk about customer segmentation. So who are the people I'm solving for? And how best can I solve for them? These people that I'm trying to solve for, what's the best approach to go about doing this? And then that helps you in creating value for your customers, because they're your number one investors, to be very honest. They're the ones that keep your business moving.
Running, yes.
So you need to think about your customers from the very, very beginning. At the point where you're thinking about your business, how you're going to drive it, you want to think about the people you're building for. And then you want to think about the people that are going to be building that with you, alongside you, because you want to treat them right. And if you have a winning team, you have a winning business. And then you think about your investors.
If you have a winning team, you have a winning business. And that's really correct, because for you to be able to give out efficient or good service, you need to have the proper team. So I think the basic stakeholder we should be concerned about in every business would be getting the right team to drive the business. And then later on, you get to worry about customers or investors. Oh, well, I'm going to ask you two final questions now.
Okay.
Simply because, it's Women's Month, it's International Women's Day, and of course the theme for this year is Choose to Challenge. A lot of women are very enthusiastic now more than ever. They're hearing achievements of so many women and they want to get to do stuff. But aside the barrier or the toughness of being a Nigerian woman, they also have to deal with the home. For those who are married, they have to deal with the home before thinking of 9 to 5s or thinking of starting their own businesses. So there's a lot to deal with. What advice would you give to women like this?
Okay. So I personally, I'm going to speak from a personal point of view. I remove that whole phase of I'm a woman when I think about business or doing anything in general. Like, I'm not going to think about the fact that, hey, I walk into that room filled with men and they probably would look down on me because I'm a woman. I walk into that room knowing who I am and what I'm able to do and having confidence in my capability to deliver. So I'd like to encourage women to challenge. Let's all challenge ourselves to be the best version of who we currently are. Always be the best version of who you are wherever you go. Stand in the confidence of your ability to deliver. Do not. Yes, there stereotypes exist. No doubt. But I think the first step is in not seeing it or not allowing it to hold you back from doing anything that you want to do. Because a lot of times it's what you have, it's what's in your mind that potentially affects your delivery. So when you're already thinking about the fact that, so I'm a woman and they might not or would not consider me.
Self-doubt, right?
Yes. So don't even think about it. Like, that you're able to deliver this. Go out and show that you can deliver. You don't have to. Let's first of all remove that barrier from an inner mind side. First of all, so take it out. I am Nwanne and I am able to deliver. I'm not looking at myself as a woman or as a female founder. But I am strong. I'm confident that I can deliver as my counterpart would, be it a man or a woman, or even deliver better off. So I think that's the first step so let's challenge ourselves first to look beyond the stereotypes, to forge ahead and be the best version of ourselves wherever, be it at home, at work, and in the society at large.
I'm sure there's someone listening right now and, that's really motivated from this that you have just said, honestly, because I've honestly, I've had women, saying, I'm trying my best, I want to grow this, I want to grow that, but a lot of things are weighing me down. And at that point, I feel like I should just be able to have that superpower to solve everybody's problem. But then, who am I? So before you go, you are a business consultant. People might want to get across to you to get more advice on, how to start a business and stuff like that. How can they get across to you?
So I'm on social media at I am Nwanne on Twitter and Instagram. And then also you can send me an email at nwanne@businesslab.africa. Okay.
All right, amazing time. Do you know I'm wrapping up my Her series with you on this show? We should pop something at least.
Nice. That's
so
exciting.
yes. It's been going on since Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today's the final day, and it's been amazing. Trust me, and thank you so much for being a part of this whole special a series that we're going on with. Of course, driving the Women's Day course, Choose to Challenge. We feel like we have come a long way as women, and we still have a long way to go. There's still a lot that we should not be talking about in 2020. Things that are so 1980s, but we are still talking about them now. And we feel like this is the moment. This is the time to drive that movement. And thank you for being a part of it, Nwanne.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Racheal. Thanks for having me on.
Right. Okay, Nwanne Nwonwu, she is a business architect and a business consultant as well. Thank you again for joining us. And it's a wrap on the Her series on Africa Business Radio. Of course, the rest of the programming continues.